Okay, so lovely. Odette's asked me to do a bit of training, and specifically around the sales training for you guys. So we can handle this in one of two ways. I can do the most of the speaking and show you what's going on, or we can do it in an interactive way. So I'd prefer the interactive way, have done a couple of, I've seen some of these sales trainings. So I'm going to ask you guys that you participate and ask me questions and go down whatever journey you need to be able to sell this product a lot easier. So can I ask that we do an interactive session? Would that be great for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through high level a couple of ideas that we're going to do, or a little bit of ideas around how we can make life a lot easier for you guys to be able to sell OQLIS within your customers. So the agenda that we want to cover today is I'm going to chat about who and what is OQLIS, just a little bit so that you understand where we come in, where we fit. We're going to talk about a customer data journey, because that's very important. If you understand that a customer is going down a journey with data, it's not that you ever going to meet a point where it's perfect and it's great. So you need to understand that they're somewhere in their journey already and they want to go somewhere, and it's our responsibility to be able to show them the steps that they need to take to be able to get better at what they're doing. And then I'm just going to give a little bit of overview of how to sell OQLIS, and this is quite an interactive. I've spoken to Odette and Dennis about this, and they've informed me that you guys are very senior salespeople. So it's not really about the principles of sales, but more about the speeds and feeds, the value that OQLIS can add, and some sales resources that we have good at. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want us to address in the session. Maybe you guys can just let me know what if there's something that you would like to address that you feel will be of value to you.
Yeah, if I can just say, we're obviously doing this and we're replacing a certain product. But I think we also need to understand how would we be able to sell this to an existing client that's already got the existing product or two, and what benefits they would get out of it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let me just jot it down here and we can address that during the session. Is there anything else that you guys would like to address? Okay, great stuff. So let me start. So what I'm going to do is, I think, Heather, if it's all right with you, I'm going to just pull up we've put together a video for the this partner event. So I'm just going to play it, and we've presented this video for the partner event.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Can't I do it?
No, go for it.
Okay, go for it. Okay, great stuff. So it just gives you a little bit of context of what we as an organization do and what we're doing for you guys. So I'm just going to put it on there.
Hi, this is Shawn here, CEO of OQLIS.
Hi, this is Andrew Bosma, CTO and founder of OQLIS.
Why is OQLIS in existence? Is because we empower people to make impactful decisions that change their business on a daily basis.
So what is OQLIS? So at its core, OQLIS is designed to put the user first. We combine visual dashboards, automation, machine learning and AI to drive impactful decisions across the entire organization. We then couple that with automated triggers that allow you to integrate with external applications to bring your data to life.
OQLIS is a partner of Flowcentric, and what we do for Flowcentric or Processware is we enhance the current experience that people have got with Processware. We bring an extra layer of value in terms of analytics and reporting, and we empower the partners and customers to be able to get more out of their Processware implementation. What is the problems that we're trying to solve? Firstly, you want to be able to see and visualize the entire process and how the existing process is working. Second, you want to find breaks and opportunities in your process for improvement and to find those bottlenecks in the process. Thirdly, you want to know how long the process should take and how long it takes under various circumstances. So Andrew, if you can tell us about about OQLIS and how it works and how we can solve these problems.
So the first step in improving any business is to start on a digital transformation journey. And what Processware allows a company to do is take the first steps in enabling that digital transformation process. By automating and capturing a process within inside a business, you can start to build data and benchmark that data and further improve, because now you've actually captured that information and you can actually measure it. So at OQLIS, we take that raw data and we transform it into actionable insights, and we do that through a couple of ways. First of all, you want to build dashboards on top of that information that gives you a perspective of what's happening across your business and across your processes. And the next step, once the processes are running smooth, is that you can automate those actions, and through a combination of triggers and machine learning, you can further improve that process and help you automate repetitive actions that further enable you to enhance that particular process. Some of the key things you want to know when looking across all processes within a business is you want to identify which processes are taking too long and which processes involve too many people. And the only way you can find that out is by viewing an aggregate dashboard that highlights those exceptions and allows you to drill in deeper to find out where the core problems are. And then once you've isolated those core problems, expose the detail inside of that process to rework and re-understand where the bottlenecks are happening, so that you might improve the process over the long run. And then typically what businesses want to do is that they actually want to report on the data that is captured inside of that process. So as something happens inside of a business, that's constantly generating data. And it's very difficult to get a summary view of all of that and understand, for instance, in a purchase requisition process, what potential suppliers are causing issues within that process and how to identify that. So OQLIS allows you to go from the summary view with the processes across all your business into the detail that's actually captured inside the forms, and bring that forward through dashboards inside of the application.
If you want to get most out of your Processware implementation and you want to see the process end to end, find those problems and take immediate action, then OQLIS is right for you. For more information, contact us. OQLIS, decisions done right.
Okay, let's start with the presentation there. So that was just a little bit of a introduction about OQLIS, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the points again so that we can unpack each of them and you can get a little bit of a feel of what it means in our world. So getting back to why OQLIS has been made, or why we actually started OQLIS, is that we needed to empower people. So if you ask your question, how does a BI or machine learning or analytical platform empower people? So there's a lot of terms that we can use. Is we can self-service, we can make it very easy, we can give them the ability to be able to dig into their data without having to have specialized skills or anything like that. So one of the benefits that we do offer for our customers is that they can then be able to help themselves find those nuggets or those things that they need to do to be able to make, which is the next part, is impactful decisions. So the whole idea behind BI or analytics is that you want to be able to do something or take some sort of action. If you don't, it's actually pointless to be able to see things and know things, but you don't make impactful decisions. So that's the second part about it, is we're trying to find ways to make it easy for customers to be able to make those impactful decisions. And then the third part is about change, is if you're doing something for the purpose of change, it's not really has no purpose or anything like that. So our platform is trying to help people make those positive changes within their business, to change their business, to improve their business, and to make something that is sustainable in the long term. So I don't know if there's any questions that you'd like to ask about that. Okay.
No, all good.
All good. Okay. So we've coined this decisions done right in our business, is because that's really what it's about. Is if you want to make decisions in your business, you want to do it right. You don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it. You guys all know that, I mean, within a business, there's always stuff that you have to do, but sometimes you do things just for the sake of it. And we're trying to use data to be able to make these decisions that people make. So at OQLIS, we help application owners like yourself. So our business is purely focused on partners or applications like Flowcentric. We don't focus on any other business. So our game plan is always to look after customers like yourselves and make sure that OQLIS is the best and the most world-class application that we can be for environments like yourselves. So, and it's there to help the customers make these decisions informed and faster, better than they ever can do before. So what is OQLIS? Basically, so it's a cloud-based analytical application that we built that combines a whole lot of different technologies, and that's what I'll be doing a little bit later, is explaining to you the different technologies and how they mean, the concepts behind it, in terms of business intelligence, data automation, and machine learning. And what we're doing is we're taking applications like yourselves that doesn't have that capability internally into the application and really building it in as if it's its own application. So it comes down to, like, we can white label it or you can leave it as OQLIS by itself, but we are adding a layer of value to you that you can offer to your customers without having to build all that functionality. The second part about it is that what we do is if our customers like yourselves, you engage with a lot of customers, need certain functionality that isn't in the application, we'll build it for you guys on an ongoing basis. Sorry, did somebody want to ask a question there?
Yeah.
Sean's got a question.
I just want to know, you say it's cloud-based. Can we also have it on local server, or is it only cloud?
No, it's on local server. So a good question there is, like, originally that our customer, it's all based on cloud-based technology, which is web-based stuff.
Yes.
So we have two options, and especially for our smaller customers, we have a cloud version, but we then have the ability to place our cloud version into our customer's environment next to the application servers. So if at the moment we are busy developing that out with your technical team, so it will be getting to your point in terms of extra existing customers, we can just almost like rip and replace and put OQLIS next to their current environment and replicate what they already have in that environment.
Because a lot of our clients are data nervous, and a lot of them still have on-site.
Yes. And that's what we found in our business. We started this company saying that we just wanted to do cloud, but we figured out that the South African the market is a little bit skittish and they get a little bit nervous. So I'd say probably 95% of our customers are on premise at the moment, even though we want it to be cloud. It's not ready yet for a lot of these customers. No. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So just getting to where we play in and who our customers are. It's just, so like we've said before, our customers are application owners. I don't deal directly with end users. That's not our game plan. We'll rather deal with the likes of yourselves. You guys have a relationship with partners. You guys have a relationship with customers. That's your prerogative. I don't want to deal with any customers, so there will never be in my business that I try and go behind your back and go to your customers and make sure and try and score the deal or anything like that. I only play in application owner space, so I'm only a partner of Flowcentric, and you guys dictate what I do and when I do it. If a customer comes to me, and it happened in the last while, a customer did come to me and said, no, they want to deal directly with it. I phoned Odette up and I said, listen, here's a customer, it's phoning me directly, please register this or do whatever you need to do to make it happen. Okay, second one that we play in a big space is what we call big data. So a lot of our because we deal with application owners, we know how to deal huge amounts of data, analytical data, and pull it through. The third thing that we do is what we call embedded. So this is where the value comes in terms of being able to white label our application and put it into any application and make it look and feel as if it's part of Flowcentric or any other application within the customers. And then obviously the last one is power of 10, which we mean is we give the power to you to be able to accelerate the customer engagements, and we bring all these technologies, which I'll go into, like BI, visualization, machine learning, and AI, into one place. So you don't have to have 10 different little applications, one doing visualization, one doing business intelligence, one doing AI. Everything is built into one place, and you can just, because it's connected directly into your application, it can basically be used end to end from that side. Okay, I don't know if there's any more questions so far. Good stuff. So this is then, maybe this is one of the most important things I would say that if you want to get out of the session is the customer journey. So in terms of customer, and I relate this a lot to like almost, what do you call the Microsoft always use it? Well, you'll see what it's about. So this is like where a journey of a customer goes through. So what we start at the bottom, where the customer is really uninformed, and we look at it in terms of, the analogy is a desert. So they're in the dark. If you look at the industry that they play in, they're operating on gut feel. It's a hit and miss in terms of their knowledge, and it's difficult to replicate any wins or anything like that. And if you start having the conversation with a customer, he'll give you every reason why he shouldn't be doing reporting, why he shouldn't be getting into business intelligence, and why I shouldn't even get into artificial intelligence of any sorts. So they're very resistant because they feel that they know what they're doing currently, but they can't replicate it. It's all gut feel, and if somebody leaves within the organization, it literally falls flat. So this is where you start looking at customers and saying, are they in the desert? Are they got no reporting, no anything like that? And you want to start moving them into what we call the oasis. So something's happening within their business. So they want to get into a place where they have basic knowledge of what's going on. They want to get into reporting. So they just want to get into like basic idea. The industry that they're playing is mediocre. They find it difficult to find true insights, and they get by with what they have. So I would say in terms of any customer, they should at least be doing reporting within their business, and they must have a basic knowledge. But then when we start going really a little bit more into detail, and this is where the value starts really getting, is when you start getting into business intelligence. So this is where you start looking at your business end to end, and you start being able to dive into those areas that are problematic. So I don't know if you guys have ever looked at Excel spreadsheets or the likes of any sort of reporting. It's very difficult to see what you need to do. So where business intelligence adds in value is to start identifying those things that you need to act on, and not just looking at it and saying, oh, great, I know now that I've got X amount of this or Y amount of that. You want to know the 5 things or the 10 things that you need to action to be able to make impactful change in your business. So where the industry is then, if you're going into at least business intelligence, is you start looking at effective operations. You start knowing what it's about. Your business is above average, you know what, and you're decisive in everything you're doing. And on a daily basis, you're making informed decisions around your business. So I don't know if there's any questions so far. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly to you guys, but like this is pretty powerful in terms of the data journey that you want to go down with your customers so that they do understand the process that they have to move through.
This is such a nice view, Shawn. I don't think I've actually seen this done this way before. So I really like that. That's really great.
Can I just give you my bank details? And
no, I must give you mine.
Good. So, and I think, if you had to have the conversation with your customers, hopefully they're playing in this oasis riverbank space. If they're playing there, I think they're good enough. Do you know what I mean? That's where they are. If they're not playing in there, they're in trouble. And you need to then put the fear of whatever in there to basically take them up to say, listen, yeah, guys, you need to lift your game. If you're not in the oasis or the riverbed, you're in a bad place. But that's good enough. And where the difference comes in and where you start getting, like in terms of an industry leader, Your business starts working on autopilot so that decisions are made on the fly without you having to need to do it. And everything that you're doing is quite trusted. Is you need to go in the machine learning and the artificial space. And this is what we call the lake. So this is when you're in the best place that you can be in your business, and you are looking at future possibilities. You're looking at how your business is actually can be in the future. You're planning properly, and you're really getting into a good place with your business. So this is a nice way to go through the journey with your customers to say, where are you now in your business? Are you in the desert? Are you in the oasis? Are you in the riverbank? Or are you in the lake? If you're in the lake, Bob's your uncle, you're in a good place. But if you're in the oasis or the desert, you need to step up your game quite a bit. So I don't know if there's any questions that you'd like to go through this, and we can maybe chat a little bit more about it.
All good. I think we need to understand a little bit more on the technical or the how it applies for us to ask more relevant questions. This is all good and well sitting in front of a client, but if we need a little bit more detail, but I'm sure we get into that.
Yeah, definitely. So this is just like a nice concept to have, and I think it's always like a good point to start whenever you're having this conversation and like sales training for yourself, because like I say, this puts it into something that you can logically follow, a plan that you can do with your customers, and ask the questions where they are, and not just are you doing BI? Are you doing AI? You know what I mean? You can like sort of like say, where are you in your journey? Are you in a good? Are you bad? Are you ugly? And that's really what it's about. Okay, so the next question, what I'm going to do is what we call, this is our signature solution, and it looks very busy, but I'm going to break it down into 3 areas for you. So we're getting back down to what we call is the uninformed decision maker, and what he needs to do to become a person that can do decisions right. So it looks very overwhelming, but what I'm going to do is going to break it down into the 3 components, and it will make a lot more sense in terms of where we play. So the first area is like whenever you meet a customer, you want to create focus in terms of their data journey. So you want to take them, they know that they got something wrong in their business, they just don't know how to action it. So the first thing is that they're going to need to do is they're going to go from a place where they're not focused to a place where they're focused. And they need to identify what they want to do. So it's what should I focus on? Because like I say, their business is so advanced or so complicated. Do I focus on this area? Do I not focus on that area? And this is really like sort of the enlightenment moment when they say, okay, well, I need to focus on something. What is that? And clearly define what you want to achieve in your business, whether it be finding out what my profitability is, how good my operation is, how good my processes are working. You need to start understanding where I should be focusing on in my business. So that's really to create that focus, and that's always a good place to start within the business. The second part is then once you've created the focus, now you need to start actioning it, or you need to start executing on things. So what does that mean? Is like you're going to start saying, okay, well, what is my data showing me? I've got to go and find the data, collect and acquire the data. You need to analyze it, and you need to apply it to your business. So you need to start saying, okay, well, I've defined what I need to do. I've focused on what I want to do. Now I need to find the data. I need to then apply something like OQLIS on it, look what the data is telling me, and start doing action and start actioning my business and making sure. So it's really about acquisition of the information. And this is really, it's a really a great place for you guys to be in, is that you guys are already capturing all this data in terms of processware. So it's really all there already. And all that we have to do is then start defining which of those areas within processware is more important to them, and start then analyzing it and coming with tangible actions within their business. I don't know if there's any questions so far.
No, all good so far on my side.
Okay, good stuff. And I'm going to be asking questions afterwards. Should I?
No problem. Betty, jy moet luister.
Jy moet luister, boeties, jy moenie slaapie. Yeah, you can't be drinking beer yet.
Ek hoop julle praat met my nie.
Niks brandas en coke nie.
Ja, niksie. Kan nie die bottel nou al oopmaak nie. Okay, so then
Quick question, not
Yes.
booze related. Are we
Yes,
going to be able to are you going to send us this PowerPoint presentation?
I will definitely do. At the end, I've got like a little area of resources that we can compile for you guys, so that you do have the video, the PowerPoint presentation, and whatever else you need to be able to sell this. Okay.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, so the next action is then what we call is clarity. So then you're moving from what we call obscurity. So you already know what actions, but now you're starting to verify. So you've already taken some actions, but you want to know, what should I do next? So you now start noting what is working, what is not working, and how to sort of optimize that and really pinpoint to the places that are going to make the biggest or going to move the needle the most. And every single decision that you start making is the right decision. Where before you start taking action, you see that it's right, it's wrong, it's maybe working a little bit, the needle's moving a little bit, but now it's really, you know exactly how to optimize your business to the nth degree within things, and you start getting this whole concept of insightfulness within your business. So what this process shows you is that you need to start in the beginning and move to a place, and this could mean that you do it on every single aspect of your business, or it could mean holistically. So it's a methodology that people can then start saying, okay, well, I've got 20 streams of different, whether it's HR, whether it be sales, and focus my analytical abilities in a processed way to be able to get the best out of it from end to end. Making sense?
Yeah, well.
So Vadel is like you were asking earlier. Oh, other chap, I can't remember
Shawn.
who did. But
Shawn.
Other Shawn. Okay, Shawn, is that this is something that it helps you go through the process. You can start looking at it from one point and start moving through the other point and start technically asking these questions. Are you yeah? Okay, you are yes. So let's start the process. Okay, we need to start identifying what you need to look at, what you want to do, and getting people involved to like identify the things that will move the needle the most. And you know it in your business or your customers is they know where the problems are. They just can't actually say it. They can't really pinpoint it until you take them through this process. They'll start, it'll be like their eyes will open and they'll go like, yes, I need to know this in my business. And this is what this process helps you, just to take them through that process so that they can actually see those things for what they are and start the actual to find the answers. Okay, so that's in terms of like say the customer journey, in terms of the technicalities of where you want to start with them and take them, and this process goes on around and around. You don't ever stop this process, and that's the great part about something like business intelligence, is you can always be selling, because there's always a new process, there's always new insights, there's always new information that they want to be able to see. So let's just dig a little bit of into the how to sell OQLIS. So one thing that's always daunting for people, that when they start in terms of analytics or BI or AI, there's a lot of terminology that's out there that makes it quite complicated and makes it a little bit daunting to start this journey. If you have started the journey, or understand the terms, great, then that's good for you. But in some ideas is like, I'm going to try pull it down to a couple of terms that you understand it, and you'll be able to speak these terms with customers or potential customers. So the first thing that I wanted to start by doing this is, these are the couple of these terms that I've thought about that I think OQLIS solves the problem, and the conversations that we can start with potential customers is, what do they want to achieve? Firstly, they want to be able to see or visualize the entire process and how the existing process is working or are working. So that's the first thing. People want to be able to see it. They want to know what it is, how it works, what it's going on. Second thing, that the problems that we can solve is that finding those breaks in processes, or the opportunities in your process for improvement. So finding those bottlenecks and being able to identify them like instantaneously. I mean, I've been in business before where I know there's something wrong, but I just cannot find that item. So this is what OQLIS is doing, is it's basically helping people see it for what it is and not being able to struggle all the time. But I know that this thing is not working properly. I know it's being able to pinpoint those things. And then the third thing that we feel is like a problem that OQLIS is solving for processware is I don't know how long the process should take and how long it should take in terms of various circumstances. So being able to say if the circumstances equals this, it's from supplier A or supplier B, how long should it take and how long should I be able to get my process through the whole entire thing. So that's really the three problems that I think we're solving. And I guess you guys can maybe enlighten me. You deal with customers all the time, or do you think there's any other problems that you think that we could be solving with business intelligence?
Hi, Shawn.
Hello.
So it's not a question to your last point, but
Okay.
I just want to find out, when you say you're finding breaks or opportunities for process improvement, how are you showing the customers those bottlenecks? What in your reporting alerts the clients to the fact that this is an opportunity for a bottleneck? Because normally we would have to do like a process analysis to show as at and future and to show the changes. How are you representing that in the data?
So there's various ways to do it. In some, like just off my head, in like an easy way is average time for process. So it could be like a specific piece of the process. So it could be that the average time for 10 different people that are using the process equals X, and 3 users are Y. That means that there's something missing within that process. So that could be one way of doing it. There could be a multitude of ways of pinpointing when things are not in sync or that it's taking too long versus another process. So you could benchmark against different processes in terms of the data and start seeing trends in terms of what's happening, what's not happening. It might be stuff that's happening in time lapse. I mean, it could be that the process runs smooth up until the 15th, but from the 15th to the 19th, it's not working. So this is what data does. It can either check it in time, it can check it in average, it can check it in a whole lot of different ways where things are not standard or they're not up to a baseline in terms of various baselines. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I guess the more we dig deep into process optimization with you guys is the better way we'll be able to find mathematical ways to determine where breaks are or where things are not working properly. Okay, so getting back to my question, I don't know if there's any other problems that you think that could be solved using business intelligence or principles around it. Is there anything that you guys could maybe highlight? It'd be quite interesting to hear.
Hi, Shawn. Sorry, I'm Tanya. I'm the business analyst with Flowcentric.
Hello, Tanya. How are you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
You were keeping me hanging there for a second. Thank you that you asked me.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening. You know what I've found quite often, because we're the ones who end up in the workshops and having to figure these bottlenecks out, is very often the salespeople and whoever else sells our product, they get to deal with management. Now, those are the reporting guys. They're in the OASIS and they're quite happy. But then the guys that we need to deal with are the users. And they very often, they understand that reporting is required, but they don't understand really how to get there themselves. And when I walk in there, very often I find that this could be a simple 5-step process, and then we walk out and it's a 20-step process, Yes. And that often I find is a very big challenge, because the expectation from management and what the users are expecting, very, very often that is worlds apart. And consolidating those two sometimes is very, very tricky.
Yeah, and like say, Tanya, we find that it's quite an interesting phenomenon in terms of analytics, is that we find that most users, almost 95% of the users that are on our systems, do not do anything but take information that's been given to them. So it's very difficult for somebody that's a business person to actually create and think about or be innovative in terms of finding data. So we find a lot of times is you almost have to create these canned experiences for people that they can drill in and drill out and things like that, which is what OQLIS does. And they can have their environment as they want it, but they never ever in their whole lives are going to go and drill deeper or come to you and tell you. They'll always moan and say, oh, I don't know how this, and then go through the process to find it, but they'll never do it themselves. So it's always like that. That's a bit of a conundrum in terms of the type of users that are actually going to use it. And then, like you rightfully so, as we found as well, is that even in the 95%, there's guys that just want to see high level, give me the 3 things that I must fix. And other guys want to see all the detail and how it works and what it's going on. So it's always like, it's quite an interesting place to go through when you're building out these things, is that you almost build dashboards for types of users and different skill levels within the business.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks.
Yeah. So and then then what we call, we have the 5% of guys, what we call, I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but the mosquito circumcisers, and they want to go and drill into every single little piece of thing and go and drill and dig and things like that. And so we give them the ability to also be able to do that as well. I don't know if I've answered your question, or maybe I've just made a statement there, Tanya.
No, that's well answered. No, I'll take a look and see what your product does going forward. It's like I say, very often the challenge is just, rubbish, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Wanting to satisfy everybody. A classic example would be, as you say, you've got your reps. Those guys really don't want to spend a lot of time in front of a screen, but the finance department and all of your reporting managers, they want a crap load of information. So
yes,
it's sometimes very hard to convince the first end capturer to actually accommodate all the requirements.
Yeah, so I guess it's always like fit for purpose and audience that you're playing towards. So it's about the design phase and making sure that you design the right stuff for the right audience that you actually want to do with.
Very true. Thanks.
Okay, so these are some of the problems that we feel that we're solving. Tanya's obviously highlighted the fact that you want to be able to give people the view that they need and at the time that they need it, and the right type of analytics to address their problems that they want to solve within the business, which is also a good point. Okay, so this is yes, is it Shawn again?
Yeah.
Yes, Shawn.
Can you just go back to that other slide?
Okay. Which one?
Yeah, that one. So you're saying that you're identifying bottlenecks, but in saying that we obviously, or the developer needs to structure the data and show the report in such a way that you can do that.
Yes, definitely.
It's not
Yeah,
you
that
guys
was
are
leading
plugging
to my
this
question
in
as
and
well,
suddenly,
Shawn.
Yeah.
suddenly it works.
So what, maybe I'm like not putting this right, is this is the conversations that we have with customers in terms of identifying the problem, saying to them, guys, it's like an easy reference point to say, listen, guys, do you want to see your entire process exec? Do you want to find breaks and opportunities in your processes?
Okay.
Do you want to know the long term? Sort of like it's almost like a conversational starting point when you're asking your customers for BI. So it's something that just helps you have those conversations. I'm not saying like something like, hey guys, you want BI? Hey guys, you want AI? No, it's it's this is just something that
no, just double checking. No, I understand that.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, for the first part of this presentation, this has been more of a exco level kind of showing them what we could possibly do.
Yeah.
But we have a very difficult situation where we often have to interact with both. So when you get to the actual nitty-gritties, technical wise, and like what databases and how it's structured and how you do it and how you can pull it and the visual look and feel, that's obviously on the CIO and the applications development manager of our clients, and we often discuss things with them. So they also need to get buy-in and say, great, it's all good and well, you've got all this, and my execs have said we need to look at this. But we also need to know the technical side, because often it falls short there. And what the product does differently to the competitors out there and what advantage they have. I think that's more the key role that we can play.
Yes, and I think what we're going to be developing for you guys is what I guess everybody calls a battle card with the frequently asked questions, and then we'll build out a little card for you to say this is the 10 things or the 50 things that people ask. Here's the answer to make it a lot easier for you guys. So I've already built 3/4 of it. I just need to finish it and send it to you guys. Yeah.
Cool. Like the cloud-based and the on-site.
100%.
Things like what databases can you use? Is it only SQL? Can you use Oracle? Can you use object-based databases? Can you use, those are the kind of questions that the IT director and them are going to ask us in those meetings, because they've obviously got different applications, different platforms, and they obviously want to pull it together, like you're saying. OQLIS can pull it all together in one visual representation, but they need to know that the actual technical side can be done.
Yes. So what I'll do as well, I mean, I didn't want to do it, but what I'll do is I've got a demo instance, and what we've given to the technical guys a demo instance with all their stuff, but we'll give you guys a demo instance where you can, and we'll give some stage data, and you guys can go in and show people, and all those components will be there that you can show people and do some analytics or just show how the process works. So
Sorry, Shawn.
Yes.
One other thing, though, and I think this leads to our Shawn's question a little bit further into the question is, does OQLIS plug into the tables within Processware in order to give this reporting, or does a Flowcentric developer or whomever is at the client site have to then still go and build? I know that the API creates those connections, but do they still then have to build and connect into the different reporting tables, or have you guys done like a preset that says, if you're going into reports, you pull this user, this information, and is it plug in? I think that's also where we're getting to, because we understand the sales aspect of positioning this in front of our customers, but Shawn is 100% correct. They get a bit more technical and say, well, how are you doing this? Do I need to invest in more time and money to someone to develop this? Because essentially it's a process within the product.
Yes,
100%.
So is it already there?
So you probably don't have plugins for everything, because all our clients are different. So we obviously use the store procs in the actual process to pull that data in the relevant tables and stuff and represent it on different formats, if they want it on a pie or a graph or whatever, or in actual raw data formats, as we do now. But they need to know as well, Astrid was saying, we also need to be able to tell them they are going to have to change stuff, or no, we can use the existing store procs. That those are the kind of questions they are going to ask us, because if some of our clients, like my one in the FMCG industry, has got hundreds of reports that they do, they need to be able to know that this is going to be easy, seamless switchover.
No, good point there. So my answer to that is that we haven't done anything yet, but we are working with Dennis and them to put together something that's going to be seamless with your guys' application.
Okay.
Yeah. So Duncan and Dennis, we're busy working on it. So first step is we're busy building that OQLIS can be easily deployed within like an hour or two on a customer site, and then create all those connections and all those things that are already in place, so that it'll make it a lot easier. But I can already tell you, if I show you what OQLIS can do, you'll see how easy it is, that you could literally do it 10-20 times faster than you would be able to do in the past.
Okay. It's just that you obviously can't go in the client and say, oh, don't worry, we got APIs and
nothing happens.
Processware, great, and they go, but you one of my 50 applications out there. I'm running Oracle, SQL, I'm running MySQL over here, I'm running this here. They need to be able to know that they can easily do it, or use their existing store procs or their existing integration to get to that information.
Yes. So maybe I can just stop there and say to you, so we cater for all the big databases, and so it'll be SQL, MySQL, Postgres, what are the other ones?
Oracle.
We connect into all the big the AWS's.
Okay.
All those things, Redshift, Amazon Redshift. Google BigQuery. So all the major ones. How OQLIS works, if you guys know a bit of technical, we work on the ODBC drivers. So every single database has got an ODBC driver of sorts. So if the database doesn't exist, all we just do is load up a ODBC driver onto our application, and it connects via ODBC.
Okay.
Okay, so most of the ones we've already catered for. And I think that's why Dennis and them are quite excited, is that you guys can now have not just only in the processware, but OQLIS can literally connect to any other database within the environment.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So these are the logical components of OQLIS, and I don't want to drill too much into it, but it sort of gives you an idea in terms of the data the data journey, what OQLIS is about. So firstly, in terms of the reporting, we do data visualization. Secondly, we have the business intelligence, which is then more like the riverbank. And then we do the automation and machine learning and AI side, which is then the lake side and things like that. So I'm going to just go in to each of them, and hopefully I'm not going to like bore you guys with this, but what is data visualization? And data visualization is something what we call it's a graphic representation, or you'll be able to see your data. So that's really what it's about in reporting. You just want to see it. So the example in our environment is like, say you have an Excel spreadsheet or database of sorts, anything like that. If you look at it as a person, you see it, you don't see any correlations to anything there. It's just like vast amount of data. So what you want to do is start moving that into something that's visually pleasing, and you can be able to see it in an easy and easy in a way that makes sense to you. So if you look from the left to the right, there's a big difference in terms of what people can see and what they can do. And this is really what we call data visualization. For anybody that ever wanted to know, it's just to be able to see your data in a way that you can understand. The second thing is what we call business intelligence, is this analyzing the current and historical data. So you want to dig into it and think. So the example, we're looking at the same thing. Here's it's represented it in a great way. You can then drill into it. So now what we've done is we've drilled into what we call sub-Saharan Africa, and what it's telling you is that there were 500 items in sub-Saharan Africa. There's 1,200, and the profit margin is at 29%. So you'll see it's slightly lower than the average, and you'll see these are the split of products. So in this region, the cosmetic area and households are the two biggest areas that this region is actually selling. And if you want to go deeper into it, you start then looking at drilling into, say, a specific country, which is Dijon, I think it's Dijon or something like that. But now you'll see that this area is only, they're doing amounts of orders, they're doing 26, and you'll see this area's profit margin is 31.42. So on average, these guys in this country have been doing more profit than everybody else. So this is really the principle about business intelligence, is finding those nuggets of information through drilling in and filtering to be able to understand what is happening within the business. I don't know if you guys have any questions so far.
I have a question, but maybe I'll ask it later because it's not really related to this. I just, how feasible would it be to, and I don't know even if this is a topic of discussion between yourself and the execs, is embedding OQLIS into processware?
Yes, so that's a good question,
That looks
Vidal.
awesome.
Yeah, so the conversations with Dennis is, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but his vision is that in the next version of processware, that OQLIS is embedded as if it is processware.
And then obviously we'd be able to give customers, I mean, should they already have their own BI or whatever the case may be, then it's just a function of not activating the OQLIS within the platform.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But at the moment, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to install it next to processware. And the great part about OQLIS is that the whole idea behind it is that we support customers like yourselves, and the fundamentals of customers like you is that it needs to be embedded into your application. So you could create URLs, you can create anything basically, and can fit into Processware as if it's anywhere in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So the embedded side can be done already now.
Okay.
Can be now. Okay.
Sorry, Shawn, if I could just take a moment to brag. Shawn has been working with some of our partners, one of them being Flowwise, and he has done exactly that. He has embedded the OQLIS reporting. When you click the tab on the left-hand side of our home screen that says reports, it actually takes to the client's unique based on their user login. So if I was someone who wanted high-level reports or someone who wanted detailed reports, that reporting that I would be able to see would be defined by my user login, and because it does that control check, and it fits seamlessly into the Flowcentric Processware platform. When you click reports, the only thing that I think happens there is that the page just keeps scrolling down depending on the number of graphs and images you want to see. Sorry, visualizations you want to see.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, so that's our game. Is we do embed into our applications, and it'd be pretty pointless if we didn't, because like I say, that's really what it's about. Is we cater for applications that don't have OQLIS, that we can put it in as if it's their own application.
Awesome. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, so the next and then really the some of the words that you do with business intelligence is the drill in, filters, and select data. So like I said before, business intelligence is trying to find those nuggets of information that you can make good and valuable decisions within your business. So really what some of the terminology that you would see when you're talking with customers is historic reporting. And this is really about pivoting your data, slicing and dicing it, drilling down, visualizing it, exploring raw data, and saving the data for the future. So these would be some of the terms that somebody would be speaking about as a business intelligence person. How do I save my explore so that I can give it to somebody else and I can use it again? How do I drill into stuff? How do I slice and dice it? So some of the terminology and really it's about turning that insights into some sort of action that you want to make a plan. You don't want to just see it. You want to make actions because you know what you need to focus on within your business. Any questions so far? Shawn, I think you'd have a question by now, bud.
No, all good.
All good. Okay, cool.
Sorry, I have a question then.
Yes.
Obviously, this is just about building the different reports, and you would sit with your customer to build their reports. But do they then have the freedom to alter these?
Yes.
The same way we would for them? I mean, how do you restrict? Do you restrict that, and if so, how?
So a good point there, Astrid, is there's two ways that the customers can do it. So, well, let me just start to say, what we find is that you want to do a canned experience, which is like, it looks like they can self-service and they can do everything themselves, but it's really like within the framework of what they can and can't see, and really make it quite interactive for them. Then what you would do is, if you could do in another way, is that canned experience, they could actually, like the ability to change colors of your phone or doing things like that, they can actually change the view that they have, and it saves it as their last known view. So if there's a canned experience and it's got 50 things that he can look at, but that user always wants to only look at one, they can save that as their standard view, and then they can, whenever they log on, it'll look like the last place where they went and used it. So it's quite great that they can sort of put it with their own filters and stuff like that, so they don't have to start again and really go through the whole canned experience. They have everything in place and it's saved like their view. Then the third part is that certain users, and that's up to you guys, is you want to be able to give them access to the data to be able to do their own stuff, freelance, you know what I mean, and just explore, chuck stuff around, look at and things like that. So basically we cater for all three different types of users, whether they just want to see it, drill whenever, they want to save it like their own way, or they want to go and do all the explorations themselves, add in stuff, take away, and things like that. So all that flexibility is there for them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next one is what we call data automation, and this is sort of a subset of machine learning and AI. In terms of the same example, so what we're looking here is the monthly sales, and you'll see the margin is at 29.62%. So what we can do is we can create this as some sort of automation thing. And so what it's going to do is you can define that, or it could be done through machine learning, is if the margin, there's a threshold of 30%. So if your margin falls under 30%, or whatever the case, and I'm just using this as an example, what needs to happen? Because like I say, you as a person cannot be looking at something 24 hours a day. You just cannot. And nobody can be able to look at something. And you think in terms of your customers' environments, they want to be able to take a lot of that legwork away of making decisions and make it automated. So basically, so you could define something and say, okay, if the data on this KPI, which is equal to margin, falls under 30%, do some sort of action. And this is now where OQLIS has some really great, powerful tools within it. Is like you can take action with it. So the obvious one is it sends you an email, sends you saying, hello, your margin has fallen under 30%. Now you as a person do something, and it can send you a whole email saying, dear manager, your margin has fallen under 30%. You need to do this. And that could be a canned mail that it sends out. Or it could do it on an SMS. It could do it as a WhatsApp. So it could send you a WhatsApp message saying, hello, product manager or production manager, machine A is not producing properly. One of the new features that we've done, which is pretty cool, is we've created an automated robot that can phone you. So you can, within the application, define what is actually happening, and it could be, and you could put the text in, and basically it'll phone you up and say, hey Joe, your machine is not working at this place, or your process is not doing this, or the margin has gone below 30%. So there's a nice thing that, or what it can do is within the automation, it can actually write back to Flowcentric and says, and do an action back into the database or back into the process to be able to fix something or do that. Or it could even write back into third-party applications, so like a help desk system or whatever the case be. So if you think about data automation, what it's trying to do is make everything super easy for the user. Define what you want to happen, and data drives that decision. So like I said, in this example, the margin went below 30%, do something. And that's something that's really powerful within OQLIS as well. I don't know if you have any questions around. You can just imagine the use cases or the scenarios that you can actually use it for.
So if I can just ask something.
Yes.
So this isn't purely data and showing what the data is doing. You've actually got triggers and some intelligence in it to
Yes.
act on something.
Yes, exactly. Because like I say, that's something that happened when we built OQLIS. We thought everything was about visualization. That's only 1% of what the world wants to see. You want to be able to, firstly, be able to see where the problems as a person, identify stuff and make decisions. But the biggest thing that people want to do is there's 30 decisions that need to be made on a day, or 100 or 1,000 or whatever. Let the data tell you what the decisions are.
Yeah,
not the person.
Really cool, because like if something like this happens, you can trigger a process or trigger an action in Flowcentric or in Processware, and then the relevant parties can be notified as well, and it can go through the actual process on Flowcentric as well, on the Processware.
It could be that it's an existing process or a brand new process. Who knows? You know what I mean? So you just
the nice thing about this is you can get data from all sorts of different applications, and now you don't have to worry about it being in one central place.
Yeah. And the data
really cool. I think that's quite powerful to sell to the clients.
Yeah. So the data actually drives decisions, not you. You define what the data says and what it should do, and let it do it. Bob's your uncle.
That's the biggest thing. Like Flowcentric, if it's not majority of what they're doing internally in their business, it's very difficult for them to make sure it drives what they need to. But if you can collect information from other places, and then trigger other processes inside Flowcentric, that's going to be huge, I think.
100%. See, and you can just imagine the options are unlimited in terms of what's happening within the business.
I mean, it can create new processes inside Flowcentric then.
Yeah.
Not that you have to create like a whole process from the beginning, but certain actions, or if this, then that, if this,
Yes.
then there can be an action in Flowcentric. There can be an audit report or auditable process. Yeah, so this is really cool and powerful. Okay.
Yeah.
And the benefit here, quite a few of the clients.
Yeah, and then remember, Shawn, there's like two different ways of doing it, and you summarized it well. The if, but, when sort of statement is always like good, because then you're statically doing it. But like in some of our customers that use this automation, we use the machine learning stuff, because like say things happen seasonally. Say for example, temperature variance in season. So something happens because of the temperature. So the decision, the if, when, and but statements are because of seasonality. It might be that today 29% is good, but in December
100%,
25% is good.
So yeah, exactly like what you're saying. In one of my FMCG clients, they've got certain periods where things suddenly escalate and orders come in, but it's because of the holiday seasons.
Yes.
So then if you've got that in there, then you can take the triggers out or whatever, and you can change the thresholds of the exceptions there.
Yes. No, definitely. So this is really powerful stuff for a lot of our customers. So I mean,
and it'll be cool once it's built in, because then it looks like Flowcentric and it triggers Flowcentric processes on the other end.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
The thing is, even before it's built in, it's already, I mean, when we can deploy on a customer, it'll still have all the functionality as if it's built into Flowcentrics.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, next one is what we call machine learning or AI. So really the principles behind this, and I think there's a misnomer about this whole AI and things like that. Everybody thinks that this is the silver bullet that's going to solve every single body's problem and you don't have to think anymore. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as that. But what it does do is it's predicting the future. So what it does is it knows what decisions to make when. And it's really about the amount of data that you feed it. So the better the data, the more data you give it, the better decisions it will make in the future. So if you look at the graph, this is how sales happen. This is now up until this point here. This is on January the 2020. This is when, or we can call it now. And this starts then telling you what the forecast should be for the next year in terms of what the machine learning is doing because of all the stuff that's happened in the past. Okay, so an example here is predictive modeling, so turning insights into action. So things that you'll do is like receiving automated anomalies, doing maintenance, finding events, regular predictions of what's happening, report what things are going to happen to devices or processes, finding insights, detecting trends and opportunities, and then being able to collaborate that back to environment. So it's really about if certain circumstances happen and it's happened in the past, what is the answer today? Or what's the answer in the future? So that's where machine learning and AI is very cool, is that it looks at everything that's happened in the past, and if that same thing's happening now, it'll tell you what the future will look like. And there's a powerful in it. So I don't know, AI, like I said, is something that people think you just switch it on and it makes things, but really it's about taking a large amount of data, finding what is happening today, and then you'll find a good solution for what it's going to look like in the future. And a good example, which always makes sense to a lot of people, is like the factor of credit application. So you know that if 25,000 gazillion people have done a credit application, you know which ones the actuaries have said, no, we're not going to give credit, or what we are going to credit. So you as Joe Soap comes along and says, okay, this is my profile. I earn this amount. I have this car. I have this. And the machine will then look back and say, okay, well, the actuaries gave this. If this person looks like this, we can give him credit. And that's where these AI and machine learning stuff does. It really does power in terms of being able to tell you what your decisions you should be making because of past experience for the future. I don't know if there's any questions around this.
No, not from me.
Fidel, anything from your
All
side?
good
All
from my
good.
side.
Tanya,
Yeah.
anything from your side? I only got 3 names here so far. So
No, good. All good on this side. Our specific, like as Shawn said, the interaction that we can trigger processes from the reports. I'm thinking of a lot. Stock that runs low, you can immediately
Definitely.
trigger your stock ordering, RFQs.
Yes.
No, there's so much opportunity in that one.
100%. No, and like I say, I'm glad you guys are thinking about it, because that's really where the power comes in, is the opportunity. We don't know what the opportunities will be. You guys would know where customers would be able to find great value in this. Okay. So a couple of the things that we found that works well for our customers is in terms of the value that OQLIS adds to customers is the time it takes to make decisions, scalable performance, self-service, security, and ease of management. So these are the couple of the things that we found that when we speak this language to customers, they sort of resonate with us, and they say, okay, yeah, this makes sense. I want this. So the first thing is about the time to make the decision. So what OQLIS does is it's taking the time that somebody would sit on an Excel spreadsheet, work the magic, crunch the numbers and things like that, and get to a place where they can make a decision, where they actually have everything in their place. It's been canned. They look at it and they can find the way that they can make decisions very simple. So it's about shortening the time to make those decisions. So one of the things that people always ask is, shit, I got it like 3 days, I got to do reporting, 10 days, I got to do reporting, and yeah, it's such a chore. I've got to like export from here, I've got to export from here, and I've got to consolidate this, and it's always a mission. And then somebody asks me something, and then it's basically I have to redo it. So time is always something that people actually want to make a difference in terms of the business intelligence side.
Yeah, and then by the time you get the data is old anyway.
Exactly. So you want to see it on the fly in real time, and you want to make decisions on right now, not tomorrow. So talking about then, we've created this as well. So we've chatted about it, is about the cloud versus on-premise. So OQLIS is one of those applications that can scale indefinitely. So you can we've got guys that have got 12 servers doing gazillion stuff. So we can really scale to any solution that customers need, whether it be a small little process or it's been running for the last 20 years and it's got gazillion amount of data. We can scale according to what the customer's requirements are. So they're always looking for something that, can it scale? Can it get bigger? Can I do all my business on this? Can I do whatever the case be? So the answer is yes, whether it be in the cloud or on premise, as long as we throw out the right amount of resources. Okay. The next one is self-service, and this thing is a big question for a lot of guys. They say, I've got a BI platform. There's only the business analyst or only the BI expert that can be able to do it. I want to be able to have more broader amounts of audience that can actually use this environment. So what we do for them is they can either consume it in the application. So with like built into Flow, the processware. So it's basically built in and they can consume it, or they could actually get onto OQLIS and work on it as they want to. Or thirdly, is what we found is most users, we can actually send them the reports by email on a schedule, on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. So that's also very powerful. Most of the users we see like to do that, is they get their report on a Monday morning for their sales thing, and then they can check it, and they can either have a link directly into their database or into their application or directly to OQLIS. So that's very powerful, that you can self-service yourself on anywhere, whether it be on a tablet, PC, on the application, whatever the case may be. So OQLIS can be consumed anywhere, which is really nice for self-service orientation. So, and the skills don't have to be really hectic on it.
Shawn, just a quick question. Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Just a very quick question. I don't want to jump the gun, and I don't want to get too much into the licensing aspect, but you guys license databases, correct? Database connections.
You'd have to speak to Odette how they
that's how
licensing.
that's how it's on the price list currently.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I think that was the first stab at how the license will work the best for you. I think she's asked for like a bundle. She put together a bundled scenario that can scale or anything like that. But that's also something that can be flexible in the future. I think Odette just wanted to have something that works now for the first
draft.
See if it goes well. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of security, we built all the security features in. So talking what Astrid said earlier about like the FlowWise guys, is they've got the single sign-on security. So basically, if a user gets onto the application, they can then log on and they'll only see what they allowed to see. So if they are an HR person, they'll only be able to see their HR. So if they're a salesperson, they only see their stuff. If they're a sales manager, their stuff plus their sales guy. So we built all the security and everything into OQLIS that it makes it easy. Because we connect directly to database, we also use as a second form of security, we use all the database security. So like user-based security or those type of things. And then we've also got some of our customers that we do API token authentication. So if that application or what we call the iframe or we embed that application, when a person is on their application, all the tokens and everything go there, so they can only see their stuff. So all the security is basically be built into OQLIS to make it easy for whoever's developing out process that they can only, the person that's supposed to see sees what he's supposed to see. And then the one of the other ones is, yes.
Shawn, I'd just like to know, so just as an example, can you also determine who gets to drill down into what? So let's say you've got one report for sales teams. Sales teams can see their co-sales group people high level information. They can only drill down further into their own though.
Yes.
But the sales manager for the group should be able to drill down into each one of those sales people.
Yes.
So that flexibility is also there.
So it's built in a hierarchical structure in terms of how you set up the roles and responsibilities. So it could be that you have, a good example is a national sales manager. He can see everybody. Regional salesperson only see his people. Salesperson only see his stuff. And it might be one dashboard, but everybody only sees what they're allowed to see.
Okay, thanks. So that's one report, different viewing rights for different user roles.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
Thanks, that's perfect.
And it can be segregated in 1,000 different ways. It could be that you have by department, by role, by access level. So there's so much different ways to be able to slice and dice this that make sense to the customer scenario.
And that can be set up beforehand, so you don't have people looking at the wrong information, even though they're looking at one report. So
Definitely.
I understand. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you just imagine this is that the OQLIS instance that we are putting down for you guys is a multi-tenanted environment. So the same version that's on our cloud version that we have 20 or 30 or 1,000 different customers on is the version that you'll put down for your customers. So you can just think about the flexibility in terms of scaling for various roles, departments, companies. Everything is built in there that you can actually scale it out or segregate everybody's information.
Sorry, this might not be related to the current section of what you're showing us, but for viewing purposes, we found that some of the reports are so large that viewing them on a cell phone screen just it doesn't make sense. And for instance, some of our clients who said, listen, the guys don't want to carry laptops around, but just please go over to a tablet format. Your viewability and scrollability on cell phones with your reports, are they quite good?
Yeah, so what happens is because it's all like, what do you call the word? It's web browser based. So what it'll do, it'll scale it according to the different technology that I think it's called bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is the right word. So basically every report will then scale down. Obviously things like a data grid that's got gazillion bit of information will never be able to see on a small phone, but you know, I mean, you can design the application or the pieces to fit that will actually look good. So a big dashboard that might have 20 different things on will then scale according to what will fit onto the screen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great stuff. So I'm just gonna this is the last slide, and then what we'll do is we'll go into the application and show you, and then we can have a couple of questions and things like that. So really the key solution areas that we play in is, one is we do data consolidation. So we bring disparate systems together and be able to show it in one different place. So whether it be the customer just really wants to see it only their processware, they could really go and find every single application database within the environment and bring it into one place. Interrogation, data interrogation, so basically deep diving into data and finding those trends and analysis, or those trends that are happening within the business. In terms of the automation, finding red flags, events, making sure that dashboards can actually interactively do things, which is really great. Historic reporting, which is then that visualization, the business intelligence, digging in, drilling, doing all the different areas and be able to find those things that you really want to do. Predictive modeling is being able to look at failures, forecastings, anything within your business, and then also is like asset performance, be able to find react to failures in real time. So something that says something's going to fail or process is not going to work properly, is being able to identify it in real time when it's going to happen. So those are sort of the key areas of what OQLIS is about. So I don't know if there's any questions or more things that you guys think, and then what we can do is just go quickly into the application and give you a little bit of a show and tell how it works.
Yeah, Shawn, I'll obviously get the licensing and how we do it from Vidal and Odette.
Yeah.
Just want to know technically on OQLIS, how much resource does it take up? And because I know these BI tools, some of them take up a lot of space or use a lot of CPU and memory.
Okay.
What is this solution? Is it pretty much on par with the others, or?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways to answer that question. Is OQLIS as an application doesn't use hardly any resources. It's not really a rich in terms of resource thing. So OQLIS as standalone application doesn't use much of resources. Where it does use a lot of resources is in terms of the queries that it's actually doing. So there's a couple of ways that we actually do it. One is that a lot of our clients could connect directly into what Dennis and them have created, like an analytical table structure within your users' data. So within Processware, there's an analytical side. We connect in that, and we basically send a little query to that, retrieve the data, and only a small amount of data that the query is about, fetch the data and present it in a way that's understandable. The third way that we find with a lot of the customers is when they start doing really big chunky size analytics and they really start working it hard, we put down that we've got within OQLIS is like a really a powerful analytical database. So that's something that we always add if the customer's data is really big, and that's something that is optimized for analytical orientated data queries.
Okay. Would that be at an extra cost though?
Not. I'd have to check with the guys. Yeah, I don't think so. It all depends on the solution. We'll build in the yeah.
Okay. No. Cool.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
Shawn, can I also
yes.
ask you? So we've said that we can trigger our BPM process from within the report, but can we also do it the other way around? So if you're busy working on the front end and you want to just say click view report, maybe then it will immediately take you to the dashboard section. So I'm sure that'll also be possible.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, remember, there's two different sides to OQLIS. One is like the actual visualization working as a user in it, and the second part is like it does its own thing in the background that you don't want to even see or know. So like the automation side, you'd set it up once and let it run in the background, whereas the analytical side is you'll look at it when you want to go and ask questions and things like that. I don't know if I'm answering your question right there.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
Okay, yeah, no, it does. Thanks. I just wanted to make sure that it goes both ways, so that and it makes sense. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, so remember the automation side, it can connect to anything. As long as it connects to a database and you put the rules on it, can literally connect to anything and do any decisions that you want it to do.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so some sales resources that we've put together or we'll carry on is we've got a YouTube channel, and that YouTube channel then has all our in-application help files for users. So when you go into OQLIS, and I'll show you now, is that there's a little help function in OQLIS. You click on it and it takes us straight through to the YouTube channel and tells you how to use OQLIS. We'll work with Astrid and Heather in terms of brochures and publications for you guys. There's also the OQLIS website that you can do, and then we are busy with a battle card for you guys that we can help you with, so that we'll distribute that. Then myself and Andrew, so I'm on the sales and marketing. You can phone us anytime if you need us to go sit in front of a client. More than happy to do it. And Andrew from a technical side. So normally I'll do like first or second engagement, qualify it. I'll come and sit, give you things, and if they really want to go, we can get the guys to do the nuts and bolts with Andrew and dig deep into all the speeds and feeds and everything like that. So all good. So these are a couple of resources that we have. Okay, so we'll work with you guys. Let me just, I don't know if there's any other questions for now that you would like to chat about.
No, all good for now.
Okay. So maybe let me just give you this is the application standalone. So what we call is the home page, and the home page, Tanya, you'd obviously, this is talking about segregation of roles and rights and things like that, is what we call is spaces, and spaces is like a virtual folder structure, like you would have anything, and you can then take any of your data or your explores and put it into logical folder structure. So you'll see as the sales dashboard, if you click on it, what it'll do is it'll go into the sales dashboard here, and it'll give you everything. I don't know why this thing's taking a bit. It's always like this when you're doing a demo. Now it's going to be a bit slow. Yeah, I'm busy at an office here, and the internet's been giving us problems. Let's check. Okay, so this is that dashboard that I was showing you, and you can see this dashboard's been segregate into eastern sales, northern sales, southern sales, and western sales. So if you were a person within a region of western sales, you'd only be seeing the western sales dashboard and so forth. So what this Spaces does, it gives you a quick overview of all the dashboards, all the widgets that you can have and explore within your business. Okay. So that's just like a logical place to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click onto this dashboard, and that was the dashboard that I used in the demo, so you can start seeing what it's all about. So I'm just going to cancel, and you see this is then all the different widgets that we can basically have in this dashboard, and then this thing can, if you want to see can be then sort of scaled to fit onto a phone or onto a tablet. I don't know if that answers your question there.
No, that looks good.
Okay, so the whole idea behind this, and this is where the power comes into OQLIS in terms of the view, is this is where most of the people will be using this. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to create like old school ways to go through your data and new school ways. So you'll see he has a little filter thing, a filter tab. What you can do is then filter by whatever region and things like this, like you would as any person. You can say, okay, I would like to see by Asia, and then apply, and then the whole dashboard, all the dashboard then goes again that. If you want to go back, you apply, and it takes it back to where it was. So this is, you can then create your own filters and what you want to see and things like that as a user. So you've got like a whole lot of options. You can edit the dashboard, you can schedule the dashboard, you can restore it, you can save it as the master highlight, you can export it, and you can really do whatever you as a user needs to do. One thing that
Shawn,
a lot of
sorry, just a quick question. If it's embedded into Processware, when a user logs into Processware, it would be quite cool, and I suppose it is possible to just have the report. I mean, that they could just click on the report. They will see all the reports that they have access to already.
Yes.
Without actually physically having to go into the actual OQLIS.
No. So let me just give you. I'm going to give you the share dashboard. So this is a URL, and I'm just going to open up a new tab. So you can just think of this as if it's in your own application. And so here's the application. Does all the everything. It's it's got everything. It just doesn't have the ability to look at all the extra, the pieces there that you would want to manage it. So this would be what a user would use. You would have all the same functionality that you would have in terms of the application embedded.
Okay.
So yeah, guys, the application will be, like you say, on Processware.
Yes.
If you click on reports, it's going to just basically go to this URL.
Yes.
But based on setup that is happening in OQLIS and how you've set that user up will be what he sees.
Yes.
You set it up once in Processware and then it has it here, because the data's and what we set up in Processware is completely different to this.
Yes.
So we will have to have 2 user role groups information, one for Processware, one for OQLIS based on data. But yes, it will be seamless when you jump from Processware to OQLIS. It's going to be white labeled for Flowcentric.
Yeah. And the thing is, maybe also, I don't know if I got your thing right there, but because you guys have already set user roles in Processware, so we authenticate those users through to there. So you don't have to set up, you have the option that you could have your own analytical users, or you can have the single sign-on from your application. So it connects into that database in Processware and says, when that user says, okay, I'm Joe and I want to go, it'll get authenticated through Processware and says he can only see this because that's the type of user he is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the main screen. Yeah, so what you can do, what might be still funky features that we do is, like say, some of our customers use this as a full screen. So this then can be mounted into a computer or a screen anywhere in the environment. And I see a lot of guys are doing reporting on like power and things like that in the environment. So this is then like a full screen version. So you could have it as a screen for somebody. So it could be in a sales office or whatever the case may be. So that's one nice function that the guys can do. Secondly is like if you want to go and look at data, so I'm going to do the same little journey that I did before. If you single click on it, you'll see it has a sticky filter here, and then it'll filter all the information in terms of that region. So what it's doing, telling me here is I have clicked on Sub-Saharan Africa, and here is Sub-Saharan, and all the information that is around this will be filtered accordingly.
Yeah, so like in our office, project manager or the technology side, the services side, we've got a dashboard like this on the wall for our help desk support calls.
Yes.
Exactly that. Then you can see quickly visible where we are, how many calls we have open, what still needs to be addressed.
100%. And so this can be done for any customer that has access to the data. Okay, so the second part is then if you'd want to drill into the data. So the drill in is you double click on it. It has the same sticky filter, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, but now the drill part says I want to go from home, I want to go to country. So now you'll see this is now filtered all the information in terms of drilled into the country that you've actually done there. So you can see, this is Republic of Congo, Niger, whatever the case be. And you can then double click on any one of this. Now I've clicked on Mauritius and check the journey takes you through where your environment is. So very simple to either select or double click and drill into your information. And now you've seen, it's gone from home to country to item type. So it gives you a portfolio of what that country does, and it filters all the data in terms of that country's information. And you can see the margin is at 33.62. So very quick and easy to be able to find information that you want to do. And it drills in indefinitely and so forth and things like that. So you can see where your environment is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you quickly how easy it is to basically do one of these explores. So I'm just going to drill on this one because we have been working with it. I'm just going to drill on it. You can click on it anytime, and you go into what we call the explore side, is how you actually develop this thing. So what you're doing is you're connecting to a data source, and you can just chuck things in there and make it super quickly and easy to deal with all your visualization. So literally within 5 seconds, you can create your own environment. So let me just start a new one here quickly. Where's it? Explore. I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to create this quickly. So I can't remember what data model this was, but let's just see. I forgot what data model this is, but let's just look at, let's just check anyone. Mushroom data, that maybe sounds like. So see, this has only got like group and measure. Let's just check something that we have got here. One of the stuff that I help desk stuff is support tickets. We find it here. Support tickets. So what you'll see is this is now support ticket information. I'm just going to chuck through the what's name, the support ticket IDs. I'm going to count it and just press run. And what it's doing over there, it's just, is this something data, and it's single KPI. Let's put it on. So quickly I can see that within this database there's 144 tickets that are there. And say for example I want to check it by status. You chuck in status, and all of a sudden it views it in all the different qualifications. I say, okay, well, let me see it as a bar gauge. Oh, that looks pretty good. I want to see it as a radial gauge. Okay, that seems pretty nice. I want to see the raw data, or I want to see it as a pivot, or I want to do a pivot. I want to see it as a spark line. I want to see it as basically as a bar chart. And then each of these things have all different types of things that you can then go and change it and make it look like you want to, and things like that. So there's a lot of various like visualizations that you can quickly do on the fly. And if you want to then create this thing, let's just say we're counting the tickets by status. We want to see where it came from. So let's put in the drill path. We double click on there and see, oh, they came from email, outbound, phone, source, portal. Okay, let's see what company it came from. Let's just chuck it in the source code there, and let's just drill it further. Okay, so it came from company. So you can see how quick and easy it is then to create for somebody that's not really technically sound, to then just quickly create the stuff. He likes it, he can save it, put it into those virtual folders, save it, and then add it to a dashboard very quickly. Add it to a dashboard of his sorts, and wants to do things like that. So I just want to show you how,
Can I quickly ask something?
Yes.
So the label there that says groups on the left,
yes,
and all that, is that then is referring to the tables that's been created in a DB, and that's the only part that you kind of have to do development work, and thereafter it's low code or no code where you can
low code, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so basically you're going to create store procs on a technical level just to grab the relevant data and the name to be able to be referenced here in the group list.
Yes.
And then thereafter, then you create it on the fly.
Yes. So either one of two ways. You could connect to a store proc, or you could actually. So how it works is, which I didn't want to go too technical, but like say we have a connection that we connect to a database of sorts.
Yes.
So basically, you can connect to any database that you want to.
Yeah.
So here's all the databases. You say, oh, it's a SQL database. You do the connection name, blah, blah, blah. You connect it, you test it, you see that it's working, you add it. Once you've added it, then what you do is you create what you call a data model. So I'm going to just here's a whole lot of data models. Let's just look at the, let's just check one that we worked on now. Let's just look at this one. So this is a database in terms of COVID, and you can either connect via StoreProc, or you can write a normal select statement, or connect to a view of sorts. And then you can normalize the data how you want to. So you'll see yeah. And then basically once you've normalized the data in terms of this data model, and it could be as simple as select star to star, or you could actually have it select, clean this up, do this, rename this, do that, whatever.
That's really cool. Okay.
And then basically when you have then, like say this model here, which is the COVID-19 one, now it's available for you. Let's just write here COVID-19, COVID. Where's it? Yeah, where's it? coronavirus, then all of these things that you've had prepared are now available and things like that to be able to slice and dice and save it.
Sure.
So the time to do it is very quick.
This is very cool. Okay.
Yeah. So what it does is it takes away that amount of effort that you have to do for users to be able to, every time they want to do anything, can I do this? Can I do that? You give them, here's your canvas, Bob's your uncle, hit it hard, do whatever you need to do as quickly as you want to do it.
Okay, no, that's really cool. Sure, this is very powerful. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can see all the stuff is built in here, the automation, the AI. And you can also, what you can do is then for the users, allow people, so say for example, you want the average Joe just to see dashboards and spaces. That's all. So you limit their view to those two dashboards if they're going to come into the application. And then your super duper mosquito circumciser type of guys, you want to give him automation, explore, and he can only do that. He can't create connections and he can't create data models. And then your developer in the background, he gets everything and he can create all that he needs to do and he can go Bob's your uncle and go crazy with it.
Okay, no, cool. Now I understand a bit better now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's me speaking for an hour and 45 minutes. I feel like my tonsils are going to jump out. So I want to check in with you guys. What can I help you guys to sell this better? What do you think I should do for you guys, or any questions that you might have?
I've got 2 questions, please.
Okay, sure. Hopefully you're not going to put me in a corner here. End on a high.
Okay, so do you have functionality for a sort of a medium skilled user whereby you make 2 groups available? I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
For instance, purchase requisitions and line items where they can actually combine those data sets themselves.
So there's a couple of ways we've created a thing called, or what you can do is, if it's, as long as the data has a common attribute, you can provide it. Yes, a common key. So it could be date, it could be anything that's common, whether it be a key or source of data. You can combine any data source.
Okay, and that would be available to a normal user, not a developer type person.
You decide who you want to give it access to. So so when you set it up, you decide whether anybody in that organization has access to any of these tabs.
Okay.
It's purely your guys' decision what you want to do. So you could, within an organization, only give them access to Explore and above. Maybe, so it all depends on how you set it up.
All right. And the second question I have is in terms of standard reporting, because we get asked that question at every single client.
Mm-hmm.
So Flowcentric doesn't have standard reporting because everything is custom built. Is there anything you can do to bridge that gap?
Yeah, so I've had a chat with Dennis about that, because like I said, we don't really know your data structures as well as you guys would probably know it. So I think there would be, he's sort of said to me that there are standard stuff that's out of the box that we could create standard reporting. So that would be something that we will work with them on to create standard reporting. However, what we have done with other customers, but it's also a little bit difficult, is that we've had, like say, a customer that had 10 customers, but the database is always exactly the same. Customer 1 has developed stuff. We've been able to almost like replicate it into different customers. So it all depends if the data source is the same on the databases. So I guess the standard reportings the answer would be quick and easy. If the database structures are the same for every customer, we could create standard reporting on those specific database structures. And then you can replicate it. You could probably, because we're busy building like a little, like a package where you can copy it from one and push it through to other endless amount of customers. Yeah.
Okay.
If the database is the same. If the database is the same, I guess, or the database structure is the same.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to ask. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. Anything else, guys? What's your guys' thoughts so far? Do you think this will be, have I been able to give you enough insights to be able to sell this easy, or is there something more that I could do for you guys?
Sorry, Shawn, I've got a question. If our users say they want to save some of the information, they want to print it or whatever the case may be, is that possible from this platform?
Yeah, so what I said to you before, you can export any dashboard into any like at any time. So you can export it into a PDF, a TIFF, a GIF, and you can then distribute it like that and print it. So you can print it out of the application as well, yeah, at that specific time, yeah.
Will we be able to, because our clients very often like having their own little logo and coloring schemes and whatever else, all that jazz, will that be able to be added?
Yeah, so within the application, which I didn't show you, is the settings division, settings side. So what OQLIS is what's designed to do is, because it can be white labeled, you can actually create it that it has all the CSI, is it the right word? CSI for all the colors. So like say if your customer is Standard Bank, you could have all the graphs in the Standard Bank's colors, and you can have little logos in the application itself, if that's how you want to set it up.
Okay, thank you.
I also have a question, and don't laugh.
Okay. Why do you even say that? Why do you even say
because
that?
I suppose no question is a stupid question.
No.
But I've had a lot of customers ask me, they want to be able to, from their BI platform, be able to put that information into a present. It should be automatically into PowerPoint. Yeah. Is that something that's possible?
No. So the thing is, we always consider doing that, but funny enough, our customers haven't really pushed it hard. So what we've done in the past with customers is they connect the URL directly into PowerPoint. So they do that and they connect via that. Or like I said, is they've exported it into the dashboard into PDF or a GIF, and then they've embedded that into their presentations.
Okay, cool.
So we haven't really done one of those like push button and it just pushes it into a presentation and Bob's your uncle. Our clients for some reason have asked, but they haven't really needed it. When we've unpacked
it. But I mean, if a client was really difficult and he said that's what he wants, can you build it?
Well, guess we'll have to build it then, yeah.
Yeah, but Dell just needs it for her internal presentations because she doesn't want to have to.
So I guess it's not hard to copy and paste, but I guess
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like save you 10 seconds, copy and paste it versus push a button and it pulls it all through.
Yeah. Tough crowd, tough crowd.
But Vidal, what we've also found is a lot of guys, they move away from the presentation space, is they actually start using OQLIS as their presentation.
So
what they do is they create like a specific like 5 dashboards as their presentation pack, and then they just go through the 5 different presentations, and like they'll say, okay, here's the high level executive view, this is what the company's looking like, and then the guys can drill in, and then they'll move to the next dashboard, which might be region A, region B, region C. So we are working on a thing called perspectives, which is that in our business is where you have like a presentation view already done, like canned for the guys, So, but that hasn't been put out to production yet.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. So not a silly question, Vidal. So it's a valid question. Okay.
Yes, sorry. In terms of templates and versioning of those and access to those. So you would have a super user report builder person, and he has a template and other users has to reuse that template.
It could be, like I said to you before, it's like how you set it out. You could have every single user as a power user, or you can have one person building it out as a template for people. So it could be, you can have the flexibility to build it how you think would work best for that specific customer.
And then also for static reporting,
yes.
Would the scheduler then be used for that?
Yes. So what I showed you in that environment is what we find very helpful for guys is we have that pivot grid. So what we do is you put all the data into like a pivot, and then you can schedule it out and have the data there for them, and then they can have it exported as an Excel for them if they really want to go and do their own stuff at a specific time.
Yes, but say for instance, I want to know what the data was like at a specific time, but it has changed now.
Yes, but that's what I say. So what you do is you build that pivot grid out with all the data as that specific, and when the scheduler pushes it out, it can push it out as an Excel or a CSV at that specific time with a host of information, and then it's obviously date stamped at that time that it got generated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Rosa.
If you want to get most out of your processware implementation and you want to see the process end to end, find those problems and take immediate action, then OQLIS is right for you. For more information, contact us. OQLIS, decisions done right.